Let's take stock of the other war, the one in West Asia. After 2 years of fighting and more than 60,000 civilian deaths, there was a ceasefire announced last week, brokered by Donald Trump. The guns fell silent, the hostages began returning home. There was talk of redeveloping Gaza. So for a brief moment, it seemed to be working. But the hope was short-lived. On Sunday, Israel launched airstrikes on Gaza. Dozens of people were killed and aid was temporarily halted. Today, no fighting has been reported. The ceasefire is set to be back in place. But can this fragile peace hold for long? Our next report has more.
The ceasefire in Gaza was meant to bring relief. Instead, by Sunday, the war returned to the skies. Israel accused Hamas of killing 2 of its soldiers near Rafah. It said they fired an anti-tank missile and opened fire on its troops. Within hours, Israeli jets launched a wave of strikes. Explosions lit up the sky in Gaza, and hospitals reported more than 40 people killed in a single day. This was the highest toll since the truce began on October 10th. Hamas denied the accusations. It said it had no contact with fighters in Rafah. It called Israel's claims flimsy pretexts to restart the war. Israel said its forces were attacked thrice.
Today, the IDF announced terrorists fired an anti-tank missile and gunfire towards our troops operating in the area of Rafah to dismantle terrorist infrastructure, all in accordance with the ceasefire agreement. Now, in response, the IDF began striking in the area to eliminate the threat.
The fallout was immediate. Israel announced it had halted aid deliveries into Gaza. It linked any resumption to Hamas upholding the agreement. By evening, Israel said it was renewing enforcement of the deal. Both sides said they remained committed to the agreement. But the damage was done. The ceasefire, less than 2 weeks old, had already been pushed to the edge. The agreement, brokered by the United States, was meant to change everything. Fighting would stop. Hostages and prisoners would be exchanged. Aid would flow into Gaza, and talks on the territory's future would begin. Some of that has happened. Hamas has released 20 living hostages. But it has returned only 13 bodies out of 28. Israel says the rest must be returned before the next phase of talks can begin. Hamas says they need heavy equipment to retrieve the bodies. Aid remains one of the most contentious issues. Israel controls most of Gaza's crossings. Aid deliveries resumed once Israel said it was enforcing the ceasefire again. But the United Nations says supplies are still below agreed levels. Access remains difficult, especially in Gaza's north. Washington is trying to keep the deal alive. U.S. President Donald Trump said the ceasefire is still in effect, but he warned that Hamas would be wiped out if it violated the agreement.
We made a deal with Hamas that, they're going to be very good, they're going to behave, they're going to be nice, and if they're not, we're going to go and we're going to eradicate them if we have to.
Washington is now doubling down on diplomacy. U.S. Vice President JD Vance has arrived in Israel. He will be meeting Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Trump's envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are already on the ground. They are working to stabilize the truce and push it into its next phase. That includes disarming Hamas. But Sunday's violence has shown how fragile the truce really is. Each strike risks unraveling the deal. Each accusation chips away at the trust needed to hold it together. For now, the ceasefire stands, at least on paper. But the calm is uneasy. And the question is no longer whether the ceasefire will hold, but how long can it survive?
Want the facts?
The latest developments?
News that gets straight to the point.
Well, we've got all three just for you. This is Firstpost Live, a brand new show, your window into what really matters.
Don't miss it.